Hello, I'm Dr. Vanita Rattan, a medically qualified doctor and a cosmetic formulator specifically for skin of color. Today we are deep diving into the wild ride of skincare and hair care that is in your 30s. And trust me, it's a whole new world to what happened in your 20s. Ever wake up and think, wait, when did that wrinkle get there? Or when did those little cute freckles start to join up and just look like discoloration? And also, when you're in the shower, you're brushing your hair and there's more hair in the brush than ever before. It's because of your 30s. Everything starts to change. A lot of the mistakes in our 20s come back to haunt us in our 30s. Things like over bleaching our hair, wearing hairstyles that are just a little bit too tight, leading to traction hair loss, and not wearing sunscreen or not washing your makeup after those late night parties. Here are 7 areas we're focusing on. Fine lines and early wrinkles. You may notice fine lines around the eye area, so these are called crow's feet. The forehead and the mouth become a little bit more noticeable. This is because reduced collagen and elastin production plus repetitive facial expressions leads to wrinkles. By the age of 35, women have lost about 10% of the collagen in their skin. The treatment options are internal and external. We'll go through both. Topical treatments, so things on the skin, start off with retinoids. So clinical studies have shown that retinoids reduce fine lines and wrinkles by up to 30% with consistent use over 6 months. So this is not something that's going to happen really quickly for you. It is going to take a little bit of time and being consistent with it. Now, retinoids are a whole family of vitamin A. And it can be a little bit confusing, but I'm going to break it down for you. It starts off with a retinol palmitate. So retinol palmitate are the weakest form of vitamin A, found, for example, in bio oil. Then a stronger version would be retinol, and in the UK and EU, the maximum you could use is 0.3%. So I say start off with 0.1 to 0.1% is for beginners, and you work your way up to 0.3%. Then the next batch would be retinaldehyde. Retinaldehyde actually works 10 times faster than retinol, but with 0 irritation. And I love that for skin of color because we cannot afford to irritate our skin or inflame the skin. What these guys do is that they boost collagen production and improve skin texture. They also help with hyperpigmentation. So they're sort of the staple that really should be in your skincare routine by the time you're in your 30s. So here are a couple of retinol options for you. This is one from Fab Skin Lab. I really like it for your early pigmentation and your early signs of aging. This is an airless pump, and that's really important. Always make sure that you are purchasing retinol in an airless pump because retinol is an antioxidant. It oxidizes in oxygen. If you buy it in a pipette, like for example from The Ordinary, you actually don't know how effective it is. So this is a non-irritating form of retinol. It is encapsulated and it's an anti-inflammatory formula. So it's one that I highly recommend. So I love this. If you want to upgrade to a stronger retinol, then this is the one that I love. And this is 0.3% retinol from Paula's Choice. So let me show you what this looks like. So this is this one. Again, it's non-irritating. It's 0.3% plus. She's actually added 2% bakuchiol, which I love as well. If you're pregnant, avoid retinol and you want to actually stick with bakuchiol on its own. If you want to upgrade to an even stronger form of vitamin A, this is the Antioxidant Power Serum. Now this we designed for skin of color. Now this contains 0.1% retinol and 0.1% retinaldehyde. As you can see, it comes out more like a serum and it feels like velvet on the skin, and that's actually very important for sensitive skin and for skin of color. In here we also put in vitamin C, we put in coenzyme Q10 as well, so you have multiple antioxidants working together in an airless pump. So depending on what you have, what strength you're looking for, those are the options that I recommend for skin of color. Now, I have something very exciting to announce. If you are pregnant or you are breastfeeding, then you can't use vitamin A. And guess what? We start to get pregnant nowadays in our 30s, in our 20s and 30s. We want our anti-aging procedures. You can't use Botox when you're pregnant. So we actually created the world's first anti-aging serum for pregnancy. We're literally launching it this week. By the time this video comes out, it should be available for you. So in here, we've put in 2% niacinamide, which helps with hyperpigmentation, but also strengthens the skin barrier. We put in 2 different forms of vitamin C. So 2% tetrahexyl tetrahexyldecanoascorbate, your fat-soluble vitamin C, which will go into the dermis to stimulate collagen. We've also put in 3-O-ethylascorbic acid, which will help with the epidermis. We put in 2% peptides. We also put in bakuchiol. Now, bakuchiol is great because it works very similarly to retinol, so your vitamin A, but you can use it during pregnancy, which is why we tell you to switch from retinol to bakuchiol during pregnancy. I also put in quite a lot of tyrosinase inhibitors into this because what tends to happen during pregnancy is hyperpigmentation can happen and uneven skin color can happen, so discoloration of the skin. So in here I've put in phytic acid and licorice root extract. I did of course add in ceramides as well because we have less ceramides in our skin. And of course I added glycerin. Glycerin's really important to create a healing environment to the skin. Because I've got so many actives in it, the serum is both water phase and fat phase, which is why it's coming out white, but it absorbs very easily into the skin and you apply your moisturizer on top to seal it in. This serum you can actually wear morning and night because there is no retinol in it. The other ingredient you need to avoid when you're pregnant is tranexamic acid. I love it generally for hyperpigmentation, but you don't want to use it when you're pregnant. So this is my little gift to all my pregnant mums out there. Now, if you are looking for professional grade treatment and you are not pregnant, then Botox might be something that you're looking into. The way Botox works is it relaxes the facial muscles and it smooths the wrinkles on top. So I get baby Botox done. We call it baby Botox because they're tweakments. We don't go for the full Botox because I need to be able to move my face. So what we do is baby Botox just around the top of my forehead. I've actually done some videos for you, some reels, and you can see how that works. But the reason why Botox is so different to skincare is because skincare really works on the epidermis more, and it works a little bit in the dermis as well, depending on which actives you're looking at. For example, tetrahexyldecanoascorbate. But it doesn't relax the muscle. And if you're doing repetitive movements, that is going to lead to wrinkles. Botox literally just almost freezes that muscle so that the wrinkles don't even form on top. And that is how it works. It's very different to skincare. It works synergistically with skincare. Skincare can never replace Botox. Botox is very different. But at the same time, if you just use Botox and you don't use proper skincare, your skin quality is going to reduce quite rapidly as well. So you really do want to use the two together. The success rates with Botox are about 90%, with effects lasting about 3 to 6 months. The other option, which is internal, is ensure you're having enough protein. So I say, for example, I'm 50 kg. I will make sure I have 50 grams of protein. And I will also make sure I have my 8 grams of marine collagen with vitamin C. This is very important because we lose 1% collagen every year from our mid-20s onwards. Collagen are the building blocks for your hair, skin, nails, and joints. You can't afford to not replace it. And the way it works is when you drink collagen, it breaks apart into the amino acids in the stomach, which then gets absorbed into the bloodstream. And this then tricks the fibroblasts into producing more collagen. Because fibroblasts notice that there's too many broken down collagen amino acids, we need to make more collagen. And that's how it works. And then the amino acids are there in order to manufacture the collagen. So it's not that you drink the collagen and it goes straight to where it needs to go to. No, it's a slightly different pathway. But what we have found is that there are different types of collagen. There's bovine and there's marine collagen. Bovine collagen are, for example, if you're gnawing on bones and joints of chicken, for example, that's where it is. Or it's in the skin of animals. So it's kind of like the unfashionable parts of the animal. It's not in the flesh, which is what we eat, the thigh and the chicken, the thigh and the breast. It's not in those areas. So you're not going to find collagen there. You're going to find it in like the bone marrow. So you can boil bones, for example, or buy bone broth. That's one way of getting your collagen. That's bovine collagen. Now, marine collagen has higher bioavailability, so it works better, but it is more expensive. There are different types of collagen and it can be confusing. Marine collagen is my favorite because of the bioavailability. But what you need to look for at the back of the packaging is 8 grams of marine collagen. Now, this was the OG Dr. V collagen boost. And I literally loaded this thing up at the back with all of the actives, all the additional nutrients that we need for our hair, skin, nails, and joints, including you want your vitamin C. Vitamin D is very important for skin of color. We have less vitamin D. That leads to everything from aching joints, but also low mood. And so that's really important as well. So this is the first one. And this was actually our watermelon and coconut. And then I got asked by you guys, okay, Dr. V, can you also make them into gel shots? So we did. We made them into gel shots. And this is passion fruit. So this is what it looks like. And you take one a day. And guess what? It tastes so good. Usually, imagine this is 8 grams of fish. And you just think, how is that going to taste good? We actually made this taste sweet. So this is passion fruit. And I'm going to show you a quick video of someone who taste tested it in front of the camera for me. Can you taste it?
Wow.
Yay.
Oh, wow. This is like better than juice.
Oh, I'm so happy.
This is so good. How did you do that?
You don't understand how many samples we tasted that were terrible.
Amazing. This is good. This is a bit like a smoothie. It's a bit like a smoothie. This is what it is. It's a bit like a smoothie and a bubble gum. This is really good.
Then you guys said, okay, Dr. V, that's great, but actually I'm a vegetarian. What do I do? And at the time, I was asked, this was 2 years ago, we started working on a vegan collagen. Now, vegan collagen is very difficult. There's a lot of vegan collagens out there. Now, the thing about collagen is it comes from animal. But to create a vegan collagen that is genuinely a vegan collagen, we had to break down the amino acids found in collagen and recreate them exactly identically using the same amino acids, but found from plants. And it's a very difficult thing to do. So this became one of the first ever vegan collagens. And again, I made it for Skin of Color. And this is blueberry pie flavor. You will absolutely love it. It's delicious. And it's the one I literally give to my grandma, who's also vegetarian and was also losing her hair, but now is actually very happy. I'll make sure I get a video of her saying it as well. Yeah, so this is for those of you who are vegetarian. And surprisingly, when we did the clinical studies, the results were very similar to marine collagen, which I was stunned by. I did not expect it. And I think there's a couple of reasons for this. Number one is the actual amino acid profile. But number two, we've shrunk this down to 1/100th of the size of the molecular weight of marine collagen. So actually, you have very good bioavailability of this. And I think that's contributed to a large extent to why the results were so similar. But really, that surprised me. So finally, all of my vegetarian family can now also get their collagen. Next is a dullness and uneven skin texture. The reason it happens is because as we get older, skin cells take much longer to turn over. So renewal rate slows down by about 28% in your 30s, and you get this buildup of dead skin cells that just sort of stick to the top. And when this happens, there's less water molecules in between the skin cells. So they're stuck together and it allows the skin to look dull. Light does not reflect evenly off the skin. So treatment options would be exfoliation. So using a gentle chemical exfoliator like AHAs such as lactic acid and mandelic acid. Your BHAs are also good, but they're more to clean out pores, to help with helping your pores look smaller. Now, the success rates of AHAs and BHAs can improve the skin texture and brightness by 20 to 40% with regular use. Sort of the key here is regular use. For us, you need a good 6 to 8 weeks, get through a full cell cycle before you see the results of your hard work. And the other key here is hydration. Now, hydration should be topical as well as internal. So topical means ensure you've got humectants in your skincare, such as glycerin or hyaluronic acid, in your moisturizers, in your toners, in your serums. And what this does is it basically helps to plump up the skin and allows light to reflect evenly off the skin. So when it comes to your chemical exfoliators, the products that I like on the market are the mandelic acid from either The Ordinary or the Inky Lest. I also like Paula's Choice 6% mandelic plus 2% lactic. So that's 8% but of gentle AHAs. They're great for skin of color. And the trick is to remove enough dead skin cells to see young, juicy, glowing skin. You want to make sure you're getting hydration into the top layer. So you want humectants in the actual chemical exfoliator. And ideally you want gentle tyrosinase inhibitors that can go deep into the skin and can help to calm down the melanocytes, the cells producing the pigment melanin. You want all this to happen, but in a very anti-inflammatory way. So this is the key. Now for skin of color, I love mandelic plus lactic acid, about 5% each, plus glycerin. And that really is the key here, is you want your humectant with the 5% mandelic plus plus 5% lactic. And that is what we've done here. Plus, of course, I didn't leave it at that. I also added in green tea extract. So it comes out a little bit like a gel serum. You just rub it into the skin. You leave it on for you can leave it on for 10, 15 minutes, or you can watch a whole movie, come back an hour later and wash it off. And you will see your face will look immediately brighter. And this is a trick that I do before any big event, before any filming day. I make sure I do this. It helps with removing those last bits of hyperpigmentation from any acne or spots that you've had, any discoloration that you've had from being on holiday. Like I've literally just come back from Mexico 2 weeks ago and I did this last night. So this is just one of those no-brainer things you do before your wedding or before any function that your makeup has to now go smooth onto the skin. The reason I put green tea extract into this is because it's your gentle tyrosinase inhibitor. And no one has ever done this before. They still haven't, where you're using your gentle AHAs, your humectants, and your tyrosinase inhibitors in combination to help with any pigmentation and dullness and uneven skin texture. Moving on to hyperpigmentation and dark spots. You might have noticed dark spots and uneven pigmentation due to sun exposure and hormonal changes are becoming ever so slightly larger and more obvious. 50% of women of color have experienced hyperpigmentation by their 30s, whether it's from acne or melasma. The treatment options are, you can either start topically, which is where I tend to start, and I always say start cheap. So you start with your daily tyrosinase inhibiting ingredients throughout your skincare routine. From your wash, to your toner, to your serums, to your moisturizer, these will brighten the skin and reduce hyperpigmentation. This was the top of my mind when I created the daily range for you. So for example, this is our CeraPep Brightening Moisturizer. And in here, I put in niacinamide, which is normal now, but licorice root extract as well. It's one of the few tyrosinase inhibitors you can wear during the day that will help to reduce hyperpigmentation significantly and is safe to wear even though UV is hitting the skin. So I put that into your CeraPep moisturizer with, of course, ceramides, because skin of color, we have less ceramides than Caucasian skin. And I also put in peptides as well, and that creates a healing environment for the skin. This is our hydrating toner. Now I put lots of things in the hydrating toner. I love this toner. Look at that. Oh, feels so good on the skin. So in this, I put in your niacinamide and I put in your green tea extract. So remember, green tea is one of the other few tyrosinase inhibitors you can wear during the day. I've also put in lots of anti-inflammatories into this because after you've washed your face, even if you're using a really gentle face wash that hydrates the skin, you are still irritating the skin slightly. So you want to put your hydrating toner on so that any actives you put on top, whether you put serums on top, whether you put your moisturizer on top, you're getting your actives immediately on the skin in an anti-inflammatory way, very thin, lightweight formula, and so that it penetrates better into our skin. Don't forget, for skin of color, our skin compacts so tightly at the top that it's very difficult for actives to penetrate. This is why exfoliation is really important, and it's also why we use very small molecular weight actives to make sure we get to where we need to get to. I've already spoken about our antioxidant power serum, but what this does is it's got your retinol, retinaldehyde, but your vitamin C as well. These are 3 different types of tyrosinase inhibitors, helping with hyperpigmentation at nighttime. Even when it came to the sunscreen, our mineral sunscreen, the world's first mineral sunscreen for skin of color with no white cast, I put in MelaShield. MelaShield is actually our trademarked stem cells that is specifically for hyperpigmentation and fine lines. But again, because I know for me as well, I get melasma, hyperpigmentation is one of our biggest issues, and having a white cast is a nightmare. There wasn't no one had ever made a mineral sunscreen with no white cast for skin of color, and this is why I made it for you. And it's actually an award-winning product. Honestly, the hardest thing I've ever made. Here it is. We supersized it for you, made it even bigger, so actually the whole family can use it, and you can use it on your body when you go on holiday as well. So the reason I'm a fan of mineral sunscreen over chemical sunscreen is because 1, it doesn't enter the bloodstream. That's why we tell pregnant women to wear a mineral sunscreen. We also tell our children to wear mineral sunscreen for this reason. Number 3 is it's anti-inflammatory. Because we are so prone to skin discoloration and hyperpigmentation, we want to minimize any chances of this happening. This is why if you have rosacea, we tell you to wear a mineral SPF 50. It was just a shame that actually no one had done it before, and it's a difficult thing to do. Honestly, it's like saying, okay, here's 17% chalk. That's what it looks like. Zinc oxide looks like chalk. Make it invisible. The next thing that happens is loss of firmness and slight sagging of the skin. So you might have noticed some slight sagging, specifically around this area, the jawline, the cheeks is less defined, and just the general facial contours change. And this is because of a couple of things. One, we've got reduced collagen and elastin, but there's also a loss of subcutaneous fat. This is why if you have a massive weight loss in your 30s, it doesn't sit as well on your face as, when it happened in your teens or in your 20s. So this is something to bear in mind. The other thing I want you to have in your skincare routine is peptides. This also helps to stimulate collagen production. The success rates with peptides can improve skin firmness by up to 37% over 12 weeks, which is why we add it to your CeraPep Brightening Moisturizer. And I also add it into the Dr. V Demco Renew range. The entire range is a peptide range. Now, professional treatments. All therapy treatments to temporarily tighten the skin is very effective. The results are seen after about 2 to 3 months, and it lasts about 18 months. Moving on to hair changes in your 30s. But before we continue, don't forget, I am in the comment section for 1 hour at the launch of every YouTube video. We've just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What I want to tell you is when I looked at our stats, I was so shocked that 90% of my viewers haven't subscribed. And it would mean the world to me if you did. If you could just take 1 second and subscribe, that's all I need from you. It'll make me so happy. As you know, this is a non-sponsored channel. I don't accept payment from anyone ever under any circumstance. And I buy all the products that we showcase, plus the money that we make from the ads goes to charity. So it's all a good thing. That's what I want this place to feel like. It's just a very loving, good area for my Skin of Color family for our evidence-based information. So if you could take that 1 second and hit the notification bell and your subscription bell, I'd love that. Thank you. Okay, now moving on to hair care. So hair care becomes more of a problem as we get older. So number 1 is thinning hair. So we get reduced hair density, hair feels thin and just less voluminous. When you blow dry it, you feel a little bit more afraid that your hair is going to be ripped out. And there's a few reasons for this. One is hormonal. The next is genetics. So you look at what your mum has gone through. The third is stress. You're going to notice your hair falling out more in stressful times or if you're ill. And the fourth is nutritional deficiencies. So around 40% of women experience noticeable hair thinning by their mid-30s. So it's actually quite a hefty percentage of us. The treatment options topically start off with minoxidil. So Rogaine is the brand name. And this helps to stimulate hair growth. So clinical studies show that 5% of topical minoxidil is very effective, with approximately 40% of women experiencing significant hair regrowth. Minoxidil is applied directly to the scalp, usually twice a day. It's important to be patient as it can take about 4 months or more to see changes. The mechanism isn't fully understood. This is what we do understand. Minoxidil is supposed to increase blood flow to the hair follicle, promoting hair growth and keeping it in its natural growth phase. So that's the anagen phase. The side effects they're quite common, is you can get scalp irritation. And if that happens and you're itching your scalp, you're likely to get more hair loss. It can also lead to dry scalp, which is annoying because actually the more irritated your scalp, the less strong the hair strands are. Often the side effects are just mild and tend to resolve themselves with continued use. So start slow and low and work your way up is the best way. The second thing, which is what I do, is microneedle with topicals. So what I do is I literally microneedle, tuck my hair into sections, especially at the front. This is where we tend to thin first, with a 0.2 millimeter microneedle. And then I use our Anagen Boost Tonic. So let me show you what this looks like. Comes in this box. And as I've basically just say I've microneedled, I will spray this directly into the area, because what you've done with the microneedles is make tiny little channels in the scalp. And when that happens, you get much better penetration of your Anagen Boost Tonic. And what this does is it keeps the follicle in the anagen phase for longer. And that's why my hair has grown so long. So you could have seen about 3 or 4 years ago, my hair was literally up here and it wouldn't grow. It just kept getting stuck at about this length. It just wouldn't grow. And that really helped. Microneedling with Anagen Boost. And we weren't even selling this, I just would make it in the lab. And when I did an Instagram post on it, a lot of my followers on there said, Dr. V, can you just make it for us? And so I have. And literally, I'm going to start doing this on my mum. My mum's now 66. Her hair's really thinned out, and I think she's not very happy about it. So I'm going to document her journey for you, microneedling with this. You can see how your hair thickens. You get loads of, the only downside, I'm going to be completely honest, the downside to this is you have lots of little baby hairs that just sort of stick up, which is very annoying. And like you have to basically spray it down if you're going to be on camera. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it is very effective. I do love it. And it doesn't irritate the scalp, which is very good. You don't get, because this is a very different formula to Rogaine, you don't get that dryness, you don't get the itchiness. It actually feels very soothing because there's a lot of anti-inflammatories in here for that reason. So what happens is these tiny little 0.2 millimeter needles create micro injuries that trigger the release of growth factor, and they stimulate hair follicles. Now, moving on to professional treatments. PRP is very good, platelet-rich plasma, which basically also promotes hair growth. It's got a success rate of 30 to 40% of increase in hair density after 3 to 6 sessions. It is very painful and it is temporary. It is something that you would need to keep going back for, and there is a risk of scalp scarring, which can happen. So it's not something that you want to be on for too long, but it is effective in the short term. Moving on to diet and supplements. So you want a diet rich in biotin, zinc, and iron. Iron is a big one, especially for all my vegetarian fambam. We suffer with iron deficiency, and I really highly recommend you go and get your iron blood levels checked. And if you are deficient, you really should be taking iron, because this is impacting your hair growth. And it gets worse as we get older, especially for females, because we are menstruating as well. So we need to load up on our iron and just be on top of it, especially, honestly, even me, I am a meat eater and I still get iron deficiency, and I eat a lot of protein. So it's something that we need to pay attention to. As we get older, hair becomes drier and more brittle. And the reason is that we have reduced sebum production as we age. Plus we have environmental damage. Plus there is more heat styling as we get older, not less. Because the hair is thinning and it doesn't maybe look as good as it used to when you were a kid and as a teenager just by doing nothing, we put more heat on the hair. And this is a problem for us. So hair moisture content can decrease by up to 10 to 15% in your 30s. So it's something to bear in mind. So when it comes to your treatment options, always think hydration, hydration, hydration. You want to be using a deep conditioning treatment, hair masks. I do hair masks every week. So these are our 2 conditioners, and we actually won the Marie Claire Awards in 2024. We beat some of the big brand names, which I'm so proud of. But what I did is I made this for textured hair, because I myself have very curly hair, but actually my daughter has super curly hair and very long hair, very difficult to manage. And so I literally made it for my baby. And so what we did is when I'm in the shower, we use this to basically detangle our hair. But after we come out, we use a little bit of this. And this is our Protect and Shield conditioner. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. So it comes out very thick. You use about that much of it from the mid of the hair all the way to the ends. You just run your fingers through it after you've come out the shower. Pop your hair up into a microfiber towel for about 30 minutes, that's it. Take your microfiber towel off and blow dry your hair as normal. And what you're gonna find is your hair is gonna feel silkier than ever. It won't break because you've hydrated the hair strands. This will go straight into the hair shaft itself. So it's got proteins, amino acids that go into the hair shaft at the right molecular weight. It closes the cuticles behind it, so your hair feels hydrated afterwards. As we get older, using hair masks becomes more and more important. The other thing we need to think about is using protective styling. So you want to minimize heat styling and use protective hair products, so things like masking. But even the style that you use, when you're younger, you can get away with pulling your hair really tight into ponytails and high ponytails and really tight, sleek back things that you really just shouldn't be doing in your 30s or 40s or really after that at all. You want your hair out in very loose styles and different styles. So you might have a low ponytail, might have a plait. You might want to put your hair in a bun, but whatever it is, change it to different sides of the hair. Also, keeping your hair out is very good as well. Reducing heat styling can decrease hair breakage by 30 to 50%. So I only really blow dry my hair maybe once to twice a week maximum. Now is also the time you might be noticing those first grays. And it's a bit of a shock, to be honest. I remember when I saw my first one, I was like I couldn't properly breathe. I remember thinking, that's it, lifesaver for me. And on top of that, both my mum and dad went grey at 21. They're both dyeing their hair at 21, like when they got married, which really scared me. I did a lot of reading about premature greying. There's a few things that you should know. And there's actually quite a lot of myths around greying. Number one, it can be worse when you are stressed. And so honestly, one of the reasons that I meditate and one of the reasons I go to bed early and I try and really not work as hard as I want to work, I really space things out a little bit, is because of greying hair. Yes, I'm vain. Dr. V's vain. I said it. But honestly, going fully grey at 21 really scared me. So that's number one. Number two is a myth that I always heard was if you pull one grey hair out, two more grow. That is absolutely not the case. What does happen is basically grey hairs require less energy than dark hair, than black hair. And the reason is there's no melanin that had to go in. So the cells around it have not had to work as hard. And so they grow faster. It's not that when you pull one out to grow, it's just that the grey hairs, you will notice, grow faster than your black hair. They also grow slightly wiry. So it's just less energy required to produce those hairs. And that's what you're noticing. And that's why you have to dye your hair so regularly. And you're thinking, hold on, my hair's not growing. Why do I have to dye my hair every 6 weeks? That's why. About 32% of women start to see grey hairs by their mid-30s. So I just want to throw that out there because you're not alone. Most of the people watching this video, or a third of the people watching this video, are going through the same thing. And when it comes to coloring your hair, I would say be really gentle. I do my hair, I think I color my grays every 10 weeks to 12 weeks. I really delay it. You can't just dye those hairs. You have to dye all the normal hairs as well. And I don't really want to irritate my scalp or reduce my hair growth. So I know the health of the scalp will equate the health of my hair. And that's why I try to extend it for as long as I can. Now you know what to do in your 30s. Watch the mistakes to avoid.